I'm putting together all of my tapered posts for the lantern slash hourglass. You can see they're not quite like center. You know, they kind of taper that way they glued them. But if you do it like that, cut the top and bottom, we're going to be in business. And that's exactly what I've done here. Yes, like look at that. That's been cut. That has a much better taper. Now, of course, this side where I've glued it, it's got a little bit of an edge to it. I think I'm going to just get a Dremel, kind of, maybe the Dremel, maybe the belt sander, and just sand it down a little bit to get a little more round. But that shape is it. I've just been cutting the top and bottom. I mean, actually, it's like kind of an 1/8 inch off with the way I cut it. And it's really, truly due by pattern. Yeah, I could have done that better. I didn't, but you can just trim it like that. It's crooked. You know, trim it closer this way, recenter it. Look at that. Nice taper. So that is what I'm doing, cutting all those. And they're going to end up being a little bit shorter than 4 inches probably. Like, what are they going to end up being? They're actually pretty close to 4 inches. Right on. I thought I might lose some height. I don't. Let me finish cutting these. My Scythe. That is looking good. I've glued foam on the handle. You can see it is a multi-colored, crazy looking thing. But the next step for that is to carve in. I might add some foam too, because I don't know, I don't quite know what I want it to look like. Right now I just think oak tree bark. That's what I'm thinking. I'll just carve into it, really just kind of make it look a little grungy, a little grody, very old and weathered. I haven't done the top though. I need to do that because the top is a big hole now, so I need to wrap foam around that. And I may cut foam for the inside of it just to fill that hole a bit better. Because if I do this thin craft foam, it's going to want to poke a hole through it. I'd rather that not happen. So I may need to do that. I do have some seams because I've had to wrap these craft foam. That's the biggest craft foam I have, so I've just had to wrap it little by little. I may need to do something about the seams. Unsure on that. And again, these things I can just wrap with more craft foam, wrap with whatever scraps I have. Like, it needs to be a little messy looking, so I think that will be just fine. Alright, we are going to put some of these tapers onto the lantern slash hourglass. I've started everything. I've not finished anything. I really need to get on that. I did get my bugs today, which is always good. Well, it's going to look pretty good. Well, this one seems better than that other one. I don't know why that is. You know, before I put these on, I probably need to work on this seam. I guess I gotta work on it on there. I mean, or does it just taper to the inside? I don't think it's a terrible thing. I like that. This came out pretty well. So you see what it looks like. And then I'll cap it, do like a little wider thing here, then it'll be something thin. I mean, foam might be too big because you can see it's going to be, well, that'll be fine because I'm going to have something wider here. That'd be a good break. I think I may work on these seams. I think the belt sander, just to knock it down a little bit, it's just a little too peaked. I'd like it a little less. Look at that, so I get it back off. Well, not too bad. If I don't do that too much, I might tear these things up. That's just going to give these posts a little bit of weight. They're just too spindly. But again, I've got this. I need to go ahead and get down on your level. I need to go ahead and heat treat the hoof part so I can go ahead and put that together. Because that's going to be a holdup. I can't really glue the fur on there until I heat treat it and then paint it. Because I can paint it with the plastic dip, like the rubber coating. And then I can put it all together and just do the highlighting and low lighting. Because I want to try to blend the hoof into the pad of the stilt, which is brown. I think that'd be fine. I think that'd be fine. A lot of times you'll see hooves maybe black, and they kind of have like some brown, like brown edge where it's a little worn. It'll be fine. That's just what I need to do. I was thinking this bottom, if it's open, all my wiring's going to be there, potentially lights. I don't know how that's going to work. That is something that once I get all these posts done, I'm going to start figuring out the bottle, how that works, because that's going to be a thing, because I need to keep sand in here, and I don't want sand to escape. I think with the slicing it and putting hot glue in there and just embedding it, that's going to be fine. I think the middle, maybe do some kind of super glue, maybe wrap foam around it too, or wrap, well, foam is really all I got. I don't know, that's important. I need to dye sand. I'm pretty sure I can just take regular dye, and I have play sand already from who knows what, and that will make that work. As those my pauldrons, I've gotten a sketch on that. I've not built those. The mask is good. Needs LEDs though. The lock, I'd really just need to heat treat it, glue it together, paint it, and then all the chain. I need to paint my chain. I've got all this black plastic chain. I got some steel spray paint. That doesn't even really be a good job. Like I want it kind of messy looking, where you see, like if you just paint it steel and kind of messy, where it's black, it'll just look old and worn and everything. That's fine. I may hit it with some mist a little bit of brown into it, just so it looks a little dirty, maybe a little rusty. Don't have a lot of rust colors. Really need some base brown, some kind of light oranges. I don't think I have any of that. But that's fine. Like the brown will work. Maybe a little bit of red, because red's kind of my underlying secondary or third-dairy color. All right, let me hit the seam so I can start putting this stuff together. Figure out how that works, because that's what I'm gonna do right now. So one thing to note about these little tapers is my angle. Like you can see this angle, I cut pretty shallow, and this is more or less round. This one, and a lot of these are like this, I cut that angle a little too steep, and so it peaks more. Not a lot I can do about that. I mean, I guess I could keep sending this down and down and down, but I don't really want to. I don't think anybody's really going to be bothered by this other than me. I'm just going to put the seam on the inside, but it's not quite as pronounced, which definitely helps the look of it. I'm just going with it. It's going to take me forever to sand it down. Even then, I don't think it's ever going to be quite right. I think it's fine, but I should have looked a little bit closer. I mean, I think one of my first ones, I cut the angle better because I figured it out. And then, as you cut, you just don't really pay attention to those angles. That'd be good. I need to, so I was thinking I would, for like this wrap, I'll just take a piece and wrap it, but you get such like it wants to pucker so much as wide as I want it. I think now I'm just going to cut out a big circle, put a hole in the middle, and then belt sand to get right, because I can't quite cut it perfectly round to get it looking right. So I'm going to cut a big circle here, which will need 8, because there'll be one at the top, one at each taper, and then in the middle, I think I will be able to just cut cut some foam, and hopefully my angles are good, and just fill in that middle. Should work a little bit better than that. That's what we got going on. That's what we're gonna do. But I love that this thing is coming together, and especially like putting these tapers on there really just helps it start to look a little more stable, a little more meaty. I mean, there's starting to be something here. These threaded rods, it makes it just look like some kind of construction project. Now that we have some tapers, yeah, I can see it coming. So I'm gonna keep building on this. I need to finish everything else. I need to apply the rest of the craft foam, like the craft foam in here. I need to apply that to the rest of the scythe, because I could potentially finish that. I apply all the craft foam, start carving it up, heat treat it, paint it, and then, because it still needs a lot of detailing on the blade. You gotta spray it silver. The handle's probably gonna be, that I may just leave black, like just the standard finish of the plastic dip, and then just wash it with some browns, maybe some whites, give some highlights, because you're gonna have some lower, higher places, maybe a little bit of dry brush and a little dry brush red. A lot of stuff to give it like that worn, well-used look. I mean, when you leave it clean, it looks like a toy. When you dirty it up and you put layer and layer and layer, it starts to look realistic. That's what I'm after. That's what I'm going to do. So to get these 2-inch whatever decorative things on there, I just went through all my paint cans, different cans of all kinds of stuff, and found a cap that is 2 inches. If you didn't have one that's 2 inches, either go in a little smaller, bigger, whatever works. And I'm just going to put this on the foam, kind of press it to give me an outline, and then get a sharp hobby blade, because if it's not sharp, it's going to tear up the foam. Cut through and cut 8 of these things. This one is exactly 2 inches, so it should work well. I'm just pushing on there. May want to ground it, but it'll give you an outline of like for what you need to cut. Is this top crooked? Oh no, there's pencil line on there. So I've got my mark. Now I just need to cut it out. Do that 8 times. I will put it on the belt sander just to smooth it out, because the hobby blade's never going to cut perfectly smooth. So you're going to want to put it on the belt sander, and plus you just get some curved edges just to make it a little bit more like wood. Because the goal is this to look kind of like wood. We'll see how that goes. So this was my disc, fresh cut out. You can see a little rough, a little bit of work on the belt sander. Nice curve. I forgot this has a texture on it. I may just leave it because I just don't feel like sanding it. It's always hard, but you can see that it's just it came out a lot nicer, rounded, smooth. Looks really good. I was thinking for the goat hoof and the pattern for the fur, I was just going to freehand it. I was like, you know what? Let me start doing it in paper just to get like a rough idea. I'm not sure how good this is. I mean, because I really want it pretty tight to the stilt. Because you can see on this stilt, you can do it really tight to the back. There's nothing that flexes here. This is a pivot point, so this does move, but really I'm just going to come off here and just give it that amount of space. Should be perfect. So I don't know. I might keep working on this paper template, see how tight I can get it. Just get a good idea of where this fur needs to be. I don't want to freehand it and waste material. I've made all my little columns. They kind of peak the same way or anything else. So I think it's just with that joint, that's just a natural point. I will sand it off because this is not quite as bad, I think, as my tapers. Get those flat. Then I can build this up. Finally glued my lock together. The bad thing about that is, like, look how uneven that is. And that is just going to be a lot of belt sander work to get that even and get each side flat and in plane. But the good thing is, it still works after all this time. So I just need to figure out how I'm going to diffuse that. And maybe I don't. Maybe I just leave it like that. I'd like it to be diffused and kind of glow better. I don't know. That's one of those things I like to leave to the end because it's still a lot of work needs having this. And if that was all it did, that'd be okay. Not great. You know, I'm not going to live with that. It'd have to be diffused somehow. We'll figure something out. So this is kind of a preview of what the hoof's going to look like. I got the fur, and I'll just kind of tuck it in tight. See, a little bit like that. I mean, look at that. That hoof, that fur, that's going to look really good. Because I want it really skinny to accentuate these stilts. And it's so skinny, no human leg would look like that or bend like that. So I really want to accentuate that part of it. And I think my plan, just so I don't have to cut up a bunch of this, is just a lot of duct tape. Duct tape this stuff together. I will glue it to the hoof. That's going to look really good. I got my fake bugs in finally. And the plan is just to, like, tie these to the costume. Just, like, I don't know if I drill a hole in them, but somehow just, I don't know if I drill a hole in them, but run it through, attach it to the cloak, just all over, or the sleeves, just all over, random places, and you see these little bugs hanging. I love that idea. I think that's going to look kind of weird and gross and perfect. I need to belt sand these, start getting this thing together. Only halfway through my deadline, but I have a Halloween event a week early. And I told him, like, hey, you're cutting me short because you cut me a week early. I'm not going to be done by then. I will try to have something impressive by that time. That means I got a week. I got less than a week to go. So, I don't know. I need to start. It's like a mini deadline. So I need to figure out what am I going to do and not do and get done by then. Because there's some things like the stilts I'd love to have done. They're just, that's going to be so cool with the goat hooves. But for that to work, I need the robe, which right now is a paper template you see right there. It does not exist. I mean, working on these other accessories, the scythe, that's got to be done. I mean, that, yeah, I'm not going to remember that. Scythe, like the mask, no LEDs in it. I think that works as is. You know, the hood. Do I start in the hood? I don't know. So there's a lot of, it's a question of like, how much do I get done for this thing? It's not a huge event, but just, you know, just a small thing. I like to be impressive. I mean, usually I impress, and this time it's just cutting me short. It's tough. So I need to start thinking about that. And it might just mean put all this on pause and jump to the robe. Just, even if it's not dyed yet, dyed black, at least I have something. Like the mask is good. Maybe the hood. The hood, I need to, you know, I want it to really peak and some plastic in there. Maybe I just jump on that so I have that hood down. And I could always maybe fake the robe, just take some other costume piece I have. Don't know. Good question. But I'm so excited about these goat hooves. Like, I'm like, oh, the scythe, that's my favorite part. It's 8 feet tall, 4 feet big. And I think, oh, this lantern / hourglass is going to be lit up. That's my favorite part, because that is so cool. Like, that's just this thing I came up with. I'm like, oh, but the goat hooves. The goat hooves are cool. It's all cool. Like, I'm having a lot of fun with this costume. Next year, hamburger. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, too. These costumes are always fun. Like, the building part, always a blast. Look how much better my padlock looks. Edges are a little bit more in line, a little bit smoother. Still looks a little rough. I don't mind that. I mean, this thing is old and crusty, rusty. That's fine. But now it's not like all kinds of different things. It looks a lot better. A little thicker than I wanted, but there's nothing I can really do about that. I dig it. I like it. Needs a lot of weathering. You know, got to get it rusty and all that. But it is a vast improvement. And now it's looking like, oh, I forgot. There's a loop that goes onto it. Where's my loop? I gotta find that. I'm always looking to add story, to add character to these props, to these costumes, and I like this. This, like, tattered cloth hanging from the scythe. I like it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do it not like this. I may, like, glue it or sew it so it looks a little more streamlined. But I like this because I don't know what color. I was thinking green at first. I don't know why. Might do red because red is my current theme. But you see this costume, you see this tattered piece of cloth. It adds a nice bit of character, a nice bit of movement as it sways as you're moving. But is this some kind of banner from a war, from a battle? Is it a tattered cloth from the Grim Reaper's lost love? Who knows? But it's a story point, and I like that. We're doing a glue up basically on everything. These little knobs are going to fit in the short handle on the scythe. I'm gluing bases together on the lantern, gluing these columns or posts together on the lantern. This cap is going to fit on the end of the big scythe. A lot of stuff getting glued. Gluing the lock portion on my padlock, gluing up a lot. Getting it done. I have sewn stuff, so I've sewn the kind of the base of the hood. I've sewn the actual hood. It is white now because the raw material is always white. You got to dye it black. I like it. It seems a little big, but I think it'll work out. Let's see if I can get it to the right spot. So I got to add plastic to get this thing to peak right, and I think that's going to kind of help this curve. But I want it to peak out like so. I want it very big. I don't quite know how the end works, so I'll figure it out. It's sewing. You know, the good thing about sewing is if it's not right, just do it again. So I think the hood will hang somewhere like this. I mean, the plastic may come down a little further just so I can get the right look. You know, I'll kind of take the plastic inside as I get that figured out. But I like this because I'm going to be a little bit deeper in the hood, so I like that. From the side, you can't really see much. You got to really get in the face. I like how this came out a lot. I mean, this is it. I don't quite know how I'm going to button up this part. You know, I've done Velcro before. I've done snaps before. It might be, I'm thinking maybe just kind of button like on the inside, and this will bring this in like so. Yeah, the white looks cool. Gonna go black. I like it. I like how far that comes out. That's just, I wish I could get a good profile look of myself. I can't quite do it. Looks pretty good. Let's see how it fits with the mask. Bring this thing home. And my lantern / hourglass. Look at that. That is looking like a thing. I love it. I can't wait to get a little further. But I decided this weekend, since I got this early thing, I do want to dress to impress. I often do. I need the robe. And so the mask is in a good spot. The scythe is not in a good spot. I really need the lantern. Lantern's one of my favorite things, even though the hooves are also one of my favorite things. So I need kind of all that stuff. For right now, I'm going to get the robe going, and then we'll circle back around. So let's see what we got going on here. I love this mask. It came out so good. Like, when first I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. But the more I see it, the more I just love it. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is sexy. Let's see, get that going right. Oh my gosh, you have that thing like kind of peeking out. I mean, like you look from a profile, you can't really see what's on the front. You look from a profile, you can't really see. And just boom! Oh my gosh, there's a skull in there. I just think I'm gonna have that plastic to get the curve like so. Let's see, exciting plastic come maybe down to about right here, and curve. Potentially I could use foam. I don't know if foam is gonna be thick enough. Craft foam won't be. Probably plastic, so I can get thin. I like that. I look happy. It's like a happy looking skull. Oh my gosh, you know, if I do the red lights in here, well not if, when I plan to do red lights, that's gonna look really good. Oh wow, it's finally come together. I may need a fan in here, like my glasses are fogging up a little bit because as it goes, I will do a little ascot thing, just I glue it on the inside of the mask and come down, and it'll just tuck right into here, just so you don't see my neck or anything. I mean, I always hate costumes where you see skin like over the gloves or the neck or anything. I'm not doing any of that. And man, when you get this thing black, part of me wonders should I have done the pleats in the side, but I just feel like that didn't quite work for this Grim Reaper. He's a little bit more simple, and I hate to copy Scorpion exactly, but man, that looks good. I really like how this came out. This is not material I bought, this is some other material I had in hand, just I'm always trying to be economical, and so I did do this double thickness because it's so thin. It's actually the same material I used for Scorpion. I love that material, love the feel of it. I had to do that double thickness because I remember when I did Scorpion, with a single layer of black, the red kind of shone through, so I did this double thickness just to fix that. Yeah, I mean, I had to put plastic. You can see that thing just wants to droop. Cloth can't suspend out like that. That's okay. I put some plastic in there, have it suspend out, and I like it. I love it when stuff starts to come together. So also, I need to attach the base to the actual hood, but I've got a red liner, and so I can't sew the front of this up until that red liner needs to sew into that. And I can't sew that together, so this is dyed black, and whatever I use for red, which I may use the same material, I still have a little bit more left, that needs to be dyed red. So I can't put all that together until I have all the pieces together, because the red and the black will be sewn together in the front. I may put a couple stitches in the back just to keep that red hood, because otherwise, if you don't, it wants to kind of just crumble. You know, I need a few stitches in the back, maybe a couple around the neck, just to keep everything together. I don't know, like, the real way to do it. Probably more stitches than just a couple here and there like I'm doing, but you know what? It works for me. And this is just the collar. I'm wearing a hood, so it kind of is a little offset, but it'll just come around like so. And I'm gonna have a tabard over. And I don't know if this goes over the tabard or under. Probably over. But I think that works kind of well. Oh, I got the shoulder tolerance. How does that work? maybe the tabard goes over this. Too deep in now. It'll be whatever it be. It's whatever feels natural, feels comfortable. That's what we'll do. Very soon, probably tomorrow, because tonight it's late and I'm just done. I guess we'll start on the robe, and I'll try to do a little bit more with my lantern. I got the top plate. Let's see. So I've got this. I've got the top plate. But first, I had to put this on. I glued the top and bottom together. I need to glue the top and bottom for the base of it on. Then I go on, then the plate, then the bolts, and they'll tighten everything down. Then you'll have this very solid, because it's a little wobbly just because the top, there's nothing tying it together. Once that's tied together, this thing will be in very good shape. A little bit of blowout there on that side. Not much. Man, I look at that. I love it. Once I get that base on, like, just the size, everything the way it's looking, I like it. I am planning to do just some corner trim. I'm just going to like put a little bit of foam just to accentuate those corners. It just needs to be a little more ornate. I like how these posts came out, like all the, you know, it's not as precise as maybe it should be, but it's precise enough for me. I mean, just, you look at it, you're like, oh, that looks good. You know, you want to like kind of grab it from here, it looks good. I like it. It's coming together. Everything's coming together. Still plenty to do. Always the case. But right now, we're roughly halfway through. Like, I feel great for the amount of progress I've done. But when you say, oh, in a week, I've got well, this weekend, less than a week, I've got an early Halloween party. I was like, ooh, I don't feel good about that. And then you think, right after that, I only got 1 more week. That doesn't feel good either. We're going to make it. And because the problem is, like, there's nothing I can cut out. Like, all these things, the hooves, that's my favorite. Lantern, that's my favorite. The scythe, that's my favorite. The hood, that's my favorite. Like, all these things are favorites. There's nothing I can shortchange. That's all got to get done. And it will. I mean, if I got this much done in just a couple of weeks, I mean, part of this included figuring all this stuff out, sketching all this stuff, figuring out exactly what it looked like. I mean, now I've kind of solved the problem. Now it's just building everything. Though I don't quite know how the lights will work in the lantern. Maybe that will get sacrificed, no lights in the lantern, even though I'd hate for lights not to be in the lantern. And I guess you could just, you know, there'll be posts 4 corners. You can just do a yellow light, drill through the wood, just into that LED, just up there, all 4 corners. Probably enough of a light. Maybe. What does 3 red lights look like? I mean, if you just had one of those, not super bright.